What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today I've got some more crazy entitled parent stories for you. But before we get into those, firstly make sure you are subscribed to my channel. We're currently chilling at 533,000 subscribers and I'm trying to get to 600k as quickly as possible. Entitled mother offended by nudity on a nude beach. I never thought I'd have a story to tell, but I recently went to the beach and remembered this gem. Note that this happened quite a while ago, so I might be a bit fuzzy on the details. So, little old 7-year-old me, my dad, stepmom and brother were at the beach. Since we didn't have swimsuits, we just went to the nude beach instead of the family one. So we're just chilling in a secluded spot on a hill playing with sand and stuff, when my dad went to the forest to bring us all some berries that were growing nearby. As he leaves, this woman in her bikini waddles over to us, baby in hands, and looks down on me doing whatever I was doing. She's the entitled mum of the story. "Excuse me?" my stepmom said. "Hello, do you need something? I just don't want you corrupting my child with your husband's nudity." Her said child was a baby, like a literal baby, probably not even a year old. "Okay, but you do know you're on a nude beach, right?" "I do, but I came here since there's less people. I especially came to this spot so we didn't see any nudity, and you are ruining our beach experience." As she said this, she scoffed and went back to her spot. We just shrugged it off, and when my dad came back, we moved a bit further away and the show was over. I'm sorry it's not as crazy as the other stories, but I wanted to share this. I mean, yeah, it may not be as crazy as some of the other stories I've read on this subreddit, but still, it's pretty mad. There's a reason it's called a nudist beach. Being nude is kind of allowed, it's kind of the point. Just because you don't want to go and sit on a normal beach where there are a lot more people, you want to have your space, that kind of means that you can't have a go at people who are being nude, again, on a nudist beach. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? Like, come on, lady, if you care so much about your child, or potentially you, seeing a nude adult, don't go on a nudist beach. It's called nudist beach for a reason. You know, let's move on to our next story. So, moving on, mum wanted me to give my sister my house, and my sister says I stole her dream. When me and my husband decided to move, we wanted to live on our own spot of land instead of the cookie cutter community and no homeowners association. The house was still mortgaged. It was a 2-story, 5-bedroom and 3.5 bath house and was less than a year old. Me and my husband at the time had no kids, only 2 dogs, and while we loved the house, the taxes and homeowners association fees and maintenance were really annoying to us and overpriced. And we wanted a little more privacy too, because our neighbours were literally 2 feet away from our own home. We were at a small family gathering with my parents and siblings discussing our options about where we wanted to move to, and if we wanted to build or buy a temporary mobile home to save up for our true dream house. I noticed my sister pull my mother aside and they were whispering about something, but I ignored it as my dad was telling us about some great opportunities in some nice country-like areas, which was what we were hoping for. I always wanted to raise sheep and chickens and needed an area that allowed that. Later that night, my mum and sister asked if they could speak to me privately, which was never a good sign. But I sighed and we went into my mum's bedroom and closed the door like they were getting ready to punish me or something, which made me anxious. "Listen, honey, me and your sister have been talking and we were thinking it would be a really good idea if you sold your house to your sister. She has 3 kids and the house she lives in now is so small. This would be a major help to her and her family." My mum was using a tone like someone would use for a 5-year-old. I was 33 at the time. "That's not a problem, she just needs to go through the proper channels like everyone else. I can get you in contact with our realtors easily and you can take it from there." I was thinking at this point that she wanted to buy the house legit. No, you don't understand," my sister whined as she looked at mum all teary-eyed. She would do this so my mum would take pity on her, and apparently they had discussed this before coming to me. "Honey, your sister's credit isn't good, so she would never qualify for such a big loan to buy your house. So we were thinking that maybe you could transfer the house into her and her husband's name, but you keep paying the mortgage, and your sister will pay you under the table what is owed. That way she can get the house and you won't be losing any money over it since she'll be paying you back after all." She was still talking to me all sweet like. What? Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea what the mortgage is? It's $2,500 a month. Sister, you and your husband barely make $25,000 a year, and that's when he actually has a job. And you don't work at all, not to mention the $1,500 land taxes and the $800 HOA fees. Look, I understand you want a better place, but I know for a fact there would be a month you would fall on hard times, like you always do, and not be able to pay for that month, and I can't afford to keep you there if you don't pay, which we both know will eventually happen. You need to buy this house legit or not at all. I'm not making any kind of deals because we need to be selling this house to buy our new place anyway. I was about to leave, but my sister burst into tears at this. Mummy, me and my husband will work really hard to pay you every month, I swear. We need this place because we would never be able to get a place like this on our own. This is our only chance. She began to cry into my mother's chest at this. You need to stop being so selfish. You and your husband in the living room bragging about building a house and getting your own land and everything. Knowing your sister is having so many financial difficulties and raising 3 children, my mum yelled at me. That's exactly my point. She is always struggling financially. How can she afford $2,500 a month on a mortgage alone? I would eventually end up just paying her mortgage all the time because her husband changes jobs like I change underwear, and I simply can't afford it. And since the house would be in her name, then I would have no way to kick her out. Eventually, I would have to stop paying and the bank would repossess the house, and I would be left with nothing financially, which would need to fund getting a new place, not to mention damaging my credit score, which I worked very hard to make good. Harsh, yes, but the truth often is. I can't believe you are doing this just to spite me. You are stealing my dream and not even giving me something in return. She began to whine even more. What are you talking about, stealing your dream? I was really confused. I was always the one who wanted to buy my own little spot of land and build a little house. You were talking about raising chickens and planting a garden. Those were my dreams and you are stealing them, you selfish female dog, she yelled. Oh wow, imagine that. I want to be a homeowner. You are the only one in the world who's wanted that. I guess mum stole your dream too, right? She owns land and a house and gardens all the time. And oh my god, someone else's sister does too, and she raises chickens. We all stole your dream. I was being overly sarcastic because it was so ridiculous. That's different. They are older than us, but you're younger. You shouldn't upstage your older sister like this. Just because you and your husband make more money than us, it's not fair. She was still crying and making a huge scene, but I was done with this at this point. The answer is no. You want the house, you buy it legit, not under the table, and certainly not me footing the bill and losing a ton of cash. I know that would inevitably happen. And I'm not stealing anything from you. If I want a little plot of land and to grow a garden and raise chickens, that's my choice. You have nothing to do with how I live my life. If this is such a reasonable request, Mum, then why don't you buy her a house legit? You put it in her name and just let her pay you under the table too, instead of asking your daughter to take care of her sister. My sister is your child, not mine, and I will not spend our hard-earned money supporting her and her family. My sister was throwing a huge fit after that, crying and begging my mum to make me do this, like we were still little kids or something. It was a pretty sad sight to see her throwing a tantrum like a 2-year-old. Yeah, and she's the golden child. Really? I told my husband we needed to leave, and we spent the drive home with me telling him what my mum and sister were trying to pull over on us. He responded, "Even if you did agree, did she really think I would go for it? I like your family and all, but dang, your sister is something else altogether. Stealing her dream, what was that all about?" he asked as we laughed about it a little. We have our own land now and are living in a double-wide trailer that we love. 5 bedrooms and 3 full baths, and thankfully no stairs, no HOA, a much cheaper mortgage and taxes, and wonderful privacy. I could walk around naked with all the windows open and no one would ever see me. Not that I do, but I could if I wanted to, lol. My sister has moved twice within the last 2 years and is always renting because their credit is terrible and they can't get a loan to buy any house. I just heard from my mother that they have been sending them money almost monthly for groceries because they can barely afford to buy food. Yeah, and you think she could have afforded that mortgage? I don't regret my decision one bit, and I love my little vegetable garden that I make homemade soup with often. Yeah, OP, there's no doubt in my mind that you made the right decision here. Obviously, it's a tough one, especially given that it's your family, it's your sister. I assume you love her, even though she seems very difficult. Yeah, it would have been nice to give her something, but you know, it's impossible, this situation. As you said yourself, you said halfway through the story how it would have affected you, her inability to pay you back for the mortgage, that sort of stuff. It was bound to happen. And yeah, as you can see at the end of the story, they're having to get money from their mum now, your mum, to be able to even buy food. So yeah, clearly, as you know, you made the right decision, but it was a tough one, I can imagine. To be honest, I don't really blame your sister as much as I blame your mum. Yeah, your sister should have had a bit more common sense, but your mum, I just don't understand her reasoning there at all. Why is she going along with this plan? First of all, her golden child daughter's credit is already ruined, clearly, and now secondly, she's probably trying to ruin your credit as well. Why? For what gain? Yes, maybe it would make your sister a little bit more happy in the short term, but long term, you both would be in financial ruin. It would clearly not be worth it. You both have to suffer dramatically for no real reason. I mean, it's not your problem. Just let your sister deal with it. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this Entitled Parents video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. As you can probably tell, I'm sweating so much right now. It is boiling hot in England. Yeah, if you want more from me, the subscribe button is on screen right away. Hit that, turn notifications on, and you'll never miss one of my daily uploads. And also, if you want more right away, I've left a video up on screen, which you can just click. You can literally just click it and you go and watch it right now. How amazing is that?